People always want to know, what is happiness? How do I get it? How do I obtain it? Like, can I keep it? Do I gotta wait for it? Can I leave it? What do I do with it when I have it? Hey, beautiful people. Welcome back. And for those of you who are new, welcome to our channel.
I'm Susie.
Oh, cool.
It's been my time. I'm Susie.
And I'm Ness, and this is Mom and Daughter Talk, where we hope to inspire,
encourage,
and uplift your mother-daughter relationships. So we are going to make this a series called the What Is series. And this is basically going to be us just giving our thoughts, opinions, experiences on what is beauty, what is happiness, what is contentment, like what are these adjectives that people use, and we always want to know, like, what the heck is it? And this is just from our perspective, our experience once again.
Yeah, and if you have any comments or what you feel like your perspective is, please reach out to us. We would love to know.
So we're going to kick this What Is series off with, what is happiness? People always want to know, what is happiness? How do I get it? How do I obtain it? Like, can I keep it? Do I got to wait for it? Can I leave it? What do I do with it when I have it?
Well, if you want to look at the word and its origin, I love etymology, which is the origins of words, right? So it really comes from an old English word that means happenstance. So when you think of happenstance, you think of the word circumstance, right? Which means that it has to do with what's going on around you. And interesting, the word happy, when you ask people, a lot of people, what do you want out of life? A lot of people will say, I just want to be happy. So really, happiness is a goal for a lot of people, right? And who doesn't want to be happy? Happiness is great, you know what I mean? However, if it's rooted in circumstance, the only problem is circumstances are guaranteed to change. One thing that's guaranteed in life is change. And so if you root your happiness in circumstance, then it's kind of a shaky ground because it's guaranteed that it's going to shift and it's going to change. So there's a difference between happiness and which is an outward thing, and I think what's internal, right? Which would be things like joy and contentment. You know, what is your definition of happiness? Not necessarily like what Webster's dictionary says, but what is happiness for you, Ness?
For me, my personal definition, I would say it's a feeling, it's an emotion, it's temporary, it's based on circumstances, like you just said. I used to think happiness, like you said, it's the goal of life. Like when I'm happy, I'm whole. Like I used to think happiness equals being whole. But then I've learned, nah, like it's not, like you said, based on your circumstances. And I want to be going through a struggle fest and still be content and be, the word I've substituted for happiness is joy. Because I feel like you said, it's on the inside, and joy isn't based on your circumstances. It's based on your way of life. It's based on really just the inside of you.
Absolutely. I think about the scripture that says, let the joy of the Lord be your strength. And joy can be a strength. It can really be a buffer of, you know, when things come your way, whether it be out of your decisions or, you know, through circumstance that you can control. So for instance, let's take something like, I don't mean like a tragic, you know, death or anything like that, but let's say someone gets in an attitude, you're on the road and someone gets in an attitude as far as towards you or, you know, in a grocery store and things like that. You can allow yourself to get sucked into that, right? Or you can really just say, you know what, I'm not going to allow this circumstance or this person to affect my joy and what's internal. Right. You know, so yeah, it's a choice.
Yeah. Like other people shouldn't be able to dictate if you're happy or not.
And which brings me to when you said about contentment, there's a scripture that says, I have learned, whatever state I'm in, I have learned to be content. And I think the operative word is learned. So when something is learned, it's a process. I don't care how quick of a learner you think you are in life, learning contentment is a process. You know what I mean? So, and it's a choice. It really is a choice. And, but the more you seek after it, the more wanting to lean on more your internal than the external, it gets easier and easier in some ways. Yeah.
So yeah, like I kind of touched on, I would say happiness and joy are two different things. I would just say in order to be happy, you have to go deeper you have to go deeper than just your emotions, because that's what that word is referring to. Like, oh, I'm happy, or I'm excited, or I'm sad, or I'm angry. Like, it's an emotion. It's another emotion. But you know, when you know Christ, you know, like, it's really the joy of the Lord that keeps you grounded.
And I'll say one thing, as far as the difference between happiness and joy, I think about the fact that happiness can be touched, but joy cannot. Joy cannot. It's one of the qualities that God gives us. It says he gives us joy unspeakable, right? So it really is where it's something that's centered in the heart, and it's a mentality.
What do you mean happiness can be touched and joy cannot?
Meaning happiness, I always think about that it's external. So when it's something is external, it's beyond your control, and it's where circumstances can change. But when you talk about joy, it's internal, and it's about your attitude, and it's about how you approach the situation. So let's say if you get fired from your job, really, yeah, that's not good news. But at the same time, God can use that to push you more into maybe to be an entrepreneur, things that you may have stayed within that position if he didn't push you out. So by that, I mean, like, you can think of it like, okay, this wasn't the best news, but at the same time, I'm still going to keep my joy because I know God's got something better.
Right.
So it really is about a heart posture and a position.
And you're able to move past your current circumstance because you can see beyond that.
Yeah.
And I think that's very hard for people to do. It's hard for them to see past what they're going through. And that dictates, like, whether I'm happy or not. And I've had to learn that for sure. So thank you for joining us for our first series episode for the What Is series. And
I'm Susie.
We are almost done. Let's get to it.
Okay.
This is the end. I'm doing the outro.
Okay.
That we are going to do.
Yes.
Dang. This is so difficult.
So go ahead and like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.
Yeah.
Have an amazing day.